Say, children, what does it all mean?
I have important business. I have important business. What are you doing?
Just being away.
Really?
Just being away.
Really?
Just being away.
Oh, really?
Nuff said, go move your roof and bed. Nuff said, go move your roof and bed. Well, now that you're awake, can we have your attention? No gift without take. So take my mention with love. Brings us to the third dimension. Hashtag Trinity. Hashtag Newspeak. Hashtag Deepfake. Hashtag the same shit. Different day. Now what did we say? That you are awake. Creating questions that don't exist. Intellectualizing shit. The nature just is. We're taking the piss. Hashtag questions don't exist. Woke. So you were sleeping cuz woke. So you were sleeping cuz who gives a fuck that you woke up? Woke. So you were sleeping cuz woke. So you were sleeping cuz woke. So you were sleeping cuz who gives a fuck that you woke up?
So you woke, that's a joke with a capital J. I'm just playing, no offense, but you know what they say. So you woke, where you been? You awake from your sleep. You won't believe when I say you didn't miss a thing. So you woke, throwing a tantrum, throwing your toys. You got the question for a question, you just making noise. So you woke, guess what? The shift will never change. Revolution only brings you back to the same place. So if you wake, eggs and bacon, information's free, but information's blurry.
Oh, Mummy, I hope I didn't wake you.
Woke. So you were sleeping cuz woke. So you were sleeping cuz who gives a fuck that you woke up? Woke. So you were sleeping cuz woke. So you were sleeping cuz woke. So you were sleeping cuz who gives a fuck that you woke up?
Just being away.
Oh, really?
The government is naughty, the government is bad, the government will rape your dad. The government is boring, they don't know what to do, so the government is watching you. The government is old and the government is slow. If that was not the case, then they will let you go, but they don't. If they do, then they can't get you. The government is me, the government is you. The government is it in a game of tag. Tap you on your back and you never get them back. Food check the government, all the big fat cats pay. Tax and goes is nice and we like that. Please don't let them change, the government must stay. We want it here forever till the end of days.
Woke. So you were sleeping cuz woke. So you were sleeping cuz who gives a fuck that you woke up? Woke. So you were sleeping cuz woke. So you were sleeping cuz woke. So you were sleeping cuz who gives a fuck that you woke up? Reset, do what? Reset, fuck that. Reset, say what? Reset, whoa. We're woke here. Do what? They laugh at. We're woke when we say what? Go to bed. We're woke when we do what? Wake the earth, you sleep cause you're with the world. We're woke.
The top of every mountain is the bottom of another. The top of every mountain is the bottom of another. Run for cover, you discover some will thrive and others suffer. Cause the top of every mountain is the bottom of another. Woo! Don't wait, don't hesitate. Better speak the truth, let it resonate and let it detonate and get blown away. Till you keep on rising to a higher place. Can't stop, won't stop. Don't stop coming till we hit the top. Gotta keep pushing till the day I make it. Since they won't give it to me, then I got to take it. The pain today is power tomorrow. Keep on coming, but you'll never catch me running. Cause I won't bow down. No matter what they say, I wouldn't do it any other way. Keep on coming, but you'll never catch me running. Cause I won't bow down. The top of every mountain is the bottom of another. The top of every mountain is the bottom of another. Not enough, they keep us smothered. Lower class, never the upper. Cause the top of every mountain is the bottom of
Good evening, UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. It's your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. I'm your werewolf. Tonight we are talking about history and how too many people have. I sound drunk, don't I?
Yes.
You sound like you.
And how people have come to mutinate it, twist it, and bend it to whatever reality they want to see it for themselves. And these days now, it's begun to erode with all new information that has been surfacing and being exploited out into the public. We've already talked about it in Black History Month when we talked about how MLK or false Dr. King was not a reverend, not even a doctor, and he didn't believe in nonviolence as he claimed to be, or as people like to think he did. We have come to been exploited to truths that have been buried in a whole bunch of lies, as Napoleon Bonaparte has once said, history is lies agreed upon by people. Correct, Art?
Yeah.
Mm.
That's correct.
Now, taking the sentiments of that line, you pick and choose whatever lie you want to co-sign to. It seems, at least that's how I interpret what he's saying. Because in one way we could say the water is the water is blue or the water is green, right? One of those is true, right?
Mm.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Or we could say that we're living in a God's eye, and that's why the sky is blue, as over Mattel has said in Game of Thrones. We're also here to talk about periods of history that we actually do enjoy, or we actually do like or respect, or even despite the fact that that every period of history has always had blood written all over it, no matter what. You know, we can look back at that period fondly, even though we have never been born into that period, or
Hmm.
or the centuries after those periods, right?
Yep.
We could talk about
Mhm.
the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the
The
2000s.
Roaring Twenties.
That's still history at this point. So history can be yesteryear, or the year before yesteryear, or the year before yesteryear. Whatever the case may be, whatever case you have done, it's history now. Once tomorrow, once tomorrow hits, and yesterday was behind you. All right. So with me
Correct.
tonight is the exquisite, the elegant, the ever so well polite and so well mannered and so well versed, the lovely Leia Valley plus size.
Good weekend, everybody. Good Saturday evening to you, or early Sunday morning. Welcome to our stream about us not being afraid of history. Glad you could join us for this conversation. And at the end, we would like to hear about you guys' favorite times in history. That'll be very interesting. So I hope you enjoy our conflab. Where's the static? Is that me?
Sorry, I tried to
Probably
stealth
him.
take a sip.
Okay.
The humble writers humble.
Hello, my name is Humble Marty, and I rate things. Today I drew a woolly mouse.
Nice. Which is written all over her face right now. Come on. I just clicked. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh, cute little mousy. How cute.
The thing it's based
Got
on
it.
is even cuter.
Oh wow.
A real mouse, or that
Oh
mouse
yeah,
from
no, a real mouse.
A real mouse. The guys that are trying to bring back the woolly mammoth decided to try and breed mice first, and the one thing they underestimated was how adorable they'd be. It's like if someone took a cotton ball and put it through Pantene Pro V.
It really is cute.
It is.
We have the stranger. We have the sixth stranger, dark stranger.
Oh.
The man's tired,
Oh,
but keep your eye on him. He's still got enough energy to throw curveballs on us.
Maybe.
Don't be like that, Grumpykins. Anyways, the mastermind of this whole put together, our hound of the South, Donny Powell.
Good evening, morning, or afternoon, everyone. This is the Hound of the South, Downey Powell, and welcome to tonight's episode of The Real Millennials, where, as the title implies, we're not afraid of telling history like it is.
So where do you want to begin, Dominic?
Well, clockwise. So let's each of us let's share like what our
Who?
favorite,
Where?
what is, and what are. All right. What is or our favorite historical period in time?
Hmm.
Okay, when we are we talking about the overall time or something
Yes.
specific like polit? Okay,
No,
all
no,
right,
the overall period.
okay. So we're not focusing on anything like political or cultural or all of the above
That's
or
part. It's part of it. I say overall.
okay,
That includes all of them.
okay.
I mean, I'm a bit privy to the Industrial Revolution and all the horrors it wrought with it. I mean, the technological horizons that we achieved around that time.
Ah, very very true. Big change.
Like steam was almost like phasing out oh, uh, a little bit over the years. I mean, it's not favorable today like it is now, but like the discovering of fossil fuels
Mm-hmm.
and and mind you, I don't know who was the one who discovered them, let alone implemented them. But I do find it fascinating that steam, though still utilized less and less, mind you, is still there despite the fact that we discovered those fossil fuels and still continue to use them to this day, even though society is working its way trying to get rid of them in favor of worse forms of energy.
Mm-hmm. Among
It's
other
been
things.
discovered. It's now being discovered that wind power is actually more dangerous than your flashlight. It's now discovered that solar power is way more dangerous than your lamplight. And yet here we are still using them because some hippy dippy idiots are trying to bully us into continue to use them. Or rather, they're selecting the weak ones to do it, but you know, us strong ones
They're
will push
they're
back
trying
against it.
they're trying to do the whole power supremacy thing, saying this is the best, and it's like, yeah, you dip too far into one thing, the rest of the stuff just sounds a lot better.
Uh-huh.
Suddenly, Captain Planet is more of a propaganda recruiter machine.
It had some useful information, but
Captain Planet, he's a
You're not wrong.
revolutionary. Gonna take a.
it was like the let's abuse Captain Planet, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I watched that cartoon as a kid, I liked it because the song was catchy. I felt bad for Captain Planet because they decided, okay, his weakness is pollution, and then
Mm-hmm.
they made him eat it on a TV show. It's like, dear gosh, this has got to that has got to taste nasty.
Yeah.
Gonna have him put asunder. Bad guys like to loot and plunder. You'll pay for this, Captain Planet. But no, I'm very the Industrial Revolution was very one of my favorite subjects to learn about in high school. And, you know, learn about the poor conditionings as well in factories and and work, you know, workplace accidents in industrialized England, right?
Mm-hmm.
Learning
Oh yes.
that it got so bad that they even recruited children, abused them even to work in factories. That was a
Mm-hmm.
horrible thing in old England
Fact-
back in them days.
Factories or even the coal mines.
Yep. Yeah, but it had gotten worse during the Great Depression as well. But yeah, I'm very I was always fascinated about that period in history where innovation was happening, at a, but even at a rapid rate, we were practicing poor conditioning. It made it, like I cite England the most because that was the most I read about, right? But what of America, really, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I didn't read that much about it, but I'm pretty sure we had our fair share of issues during our industrialized revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Of course,
A lot of a lot of layers on that one.
if you want me to go medieval, I would say medieval England was actually pretty fascinating in itself too. Fascinating to know that now know now that they weren't just as stereotypically depicted in most movies. These very untechnologically minded or backwards thinking uh human filth.
Oh yeah, that also was shown like in TVs, games, and fiction. Well, this case literature.
Hmm.
All
Like
that was fed, not true. Well, at least not 100% true.
they knew how to make armor for women and make it fit for them comfortably. So yes, boob armor was a thing, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a necessary thing.
Also, during the medieval period like including Europe, knights they were actually using firearms.
Hmm.
You
And
don't hear anyone talk about that.
now, women in
No,
armor,
that's
however, tend to be more of a thing of formality, like traveling royalty and the like. Now, granted, some of the designs may have people questioning whether or not they were very powerful enough to stop a bolt from puncturing them, despite the fact that their design would stand to what would make one stand to believe in theory that it would be weak in certain areas due to how it was shaped, right?
Yes.
I call bullshit.
No, me too.
Because even though it was shaped the way it was, does not mean the density of the armor was weakened due to the fact that it was shaped. A lot of these idiots think that they're fucking armchair. They're more armchair blacksmiths.
Eh, you'd have to temper the metal just right to actually make that kind of weakness, I think.
Hmm.
And I'm saying this as someone who's watched a lot of Metatron, and when his when his boob plate video went viral, it always attracted the crazies.
Mm. Even Diversity, like he talked about like the evolution of armor for women.
There is one historical version. I learned this one recently. This one's the most hilarious. In the 1600s, this one woman had a set of samurai armor made for her because she'd go out and do samurai duties when her husband was passed out drunk.
Nice.
What?
Yes, if there was a battle going on and her husband was passed out drunk, she'd basically get on her Batman suit, go out into the battlefield, and call him to arms.
Wow. This was in Japan.
Uh, yeah, I seen it off of one of the video shorts.
That's amazing.
And this guy, one of the things that he does is he takes art prints and makes memes out of them. Ona Kiyoshi. Yeah, that's probably the person right there. Ona Kiyoshi.
Or is there otherwise known as the Onobugeishas?
Onabugeishas. I think the
Yeah.
Onabugeishas are like a little bit different. And I'm only and if I get this wrong, you can correct the heck out of me all you want. There's some of them that were actually female bodyguards because, well, guys couldn't go everywhere the women went,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa.
I was very into Greek mythology of its time when it was taught to me during junior high school. But also learning new facts about it today is kind of crazy when I think about it. That they only when it came down to my schools, they only touched the surface, which is they only teach us the Iliad, the Odyssey. They didn't really teach us about the the Spartan culture, the Athenian culture, anything like that, or rather, short of the medieval gods, and they
Some
hardly ever talked about Egypt.
sometimes well, I think there's a pretty good reason to that. Sometimes the schools can't really dig very deep into it because then they'd have to get into stuff like the bloodier version of the Egyptian Cinderella, or let's see, who's the head god there? It's not Thor. Thor's
For Egypt,
Osiris.
it's Ra.
Ra,
yeah,
Ra,
for
Ra.
Ra, but I was thinking about the Greek mythology guy.
Zeus.
Zeus. Yes, Zeus's love life.
Oh, I
yeah.
knew about that earlier.
Talk about misogyny. Zeus had so many. Yes.
No, I knew about Zeus's philandry in
Yes.
high school.
To be fair, Zeus had one kid out of his head, which I think would have been Athena. Well, actually,
Yes.
Athena was born from his knee, and there are different versions of the story. And he married his sister.
The version
Wow.
I've always thought is that Athena sprung from his head, and that Dionysus, the god of wine, I can't say his name.
Dionysus.
Dionysus, thank
Dionysus.
you. Dionysus, thank you. Getting tongue tied. Came out of his leg.
Yeah, that's probably
Stop
it.
it, Dark Stranger. Hush.
Well,
Everybody's spoken. I
here's
say
the
it's coming
thing:
out
a
of
lot
his
of people
leg.
like to hate on the Greek gods for cousin fucking, sister fucking, and all that stuff. But when you really think about it, who are they really going to marry to that ain't them exactly?
They come to Earth and find the humans.
Did you not hear what I just said?
I
Yeah.
heard what you said. Who is not them? But
And they did have one where Hera actually did have Zeus's kid, and it ended up being the god of blacksmithing.
Hephaestus.
Mm-hmm.
Hephaestus.
Yes, and poor Hephaestus got the worst of both ends, genetically speaking. I mean, very smart, but very ugly.
Disfigured. Oftentimes portrayed as misshapen, which
Mhm.
which I would say Blood Zeus had Blood Zeus had the best Hephaestus design ever.
I agree.
Mhm.
And it's most and this is the reason why I say this is because he is a Greek. He is an Olympian god. He's among the Olympians. Sure, he's disfigured, but he his Olympian heritage would not allow his body to be super misshapen like God of War, or say then again God of War. He's only shaped like that because Zeus beat the shit out of him in between games.
Ouch.
Like the way how you see
Sure.
Hephaestus in God of War 3 is due to the fact his own dad beat the living shit out of him For one reason, of course, but technically he's supposed to his it's only limited to his face. It's not limited to all over his body. So even Hades too kind of screwed that up. It's like he's still perfect except for that one imperfection on his body, which is his face. He's basically he's basically Quasimodo, but without the misshapen body all over, just his face.
He's like Quasimodo from the neck up and Adonis from the neck down.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
A very stocky Adonis.
And that's why I say Buzz Zeus got it right of all things to get right in that show. And for those who don't know, it's the Netflix show done by I wouldn't say the same people who did the Castlevania cartoon. Just a subsidiary group, I guess.
Yeah.
That's made up of most of that team.
The one
I'm just shooting I'm just shooting at the wall at this point on speculation. So don't take my word for it. Go on, Humble.
Me?
Yeah, you want to say something?
Well, the only thing I was saying is the thing I was remembering was Class of the Titans.
Now, Class of the Titans, if you ask me, is an underrated animated series.
Now, one thing I will say that was always a point of interest that was taught to us nonstop in ancient Greece was, and I briefly mentioned it before, the Iliad was quite interesting, especially when you take into account of who participated during that war and how long that war went. And in the movie Troy made it seem like it went on for about a week or so. When in actuality, I think the Iliad went on for about a year or two.
Yes.
It was like a straight up 1 year or 2 year war. But the movie portrayed, like I said, like it went over for like maybe a week or two. It's like when you see Achilles, Hector, and even Paris and everybody, they look just exactly the same as they always did. So that don't look like no war that took well into like a year or two to finish. But I digress. Like that's the one thing that bugs me about that movie, aside from the mischaracterizations and rearrangements, and of course the absence of the gods involvement in the wars.
Yes.
What?
The gods played a big part in the Trojan War.
Of
because
course they
it was because there was also chaos in Mount Olympus as well. So even though on Earth there was also division growing on Mount Olympus as well among the gods.
Having the gods not in the war, it's like crazy.
They played a
even
big
Hector
part.
himself, before the war even got started, completely got started. Hector he even said the gods are not going to participate in this fight, all due to the fact that Achilles beheads the statue of Apollo, desecrating and disrespecting Apollo himself. And with that being said, with Achilles not being smoted on the spot like that proved to Hector that the gods are not stepping in on this one. It's like I saw the man desecrate the statue of Apollo, and Apollo did not strike him down. The gods will not be participating in this war. And oh boy, the mischaracterization of King Priam being so pious and very faith driven, which is fine. It's fine if you want to pray to your gods for an outcome, right? But oh man, when you see the extra footage that's in the director's cut of that movie, Jesus Christ! One, it recontextualized a scene, even though the scene without some of the scenes works so well on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But man, oh man, it doesn't. It really kind of does a disservice to Priam. If you look at how Priam was responding to his councilmen, and when they defer to the gods at times, you can just see him just salivating to him, like mentally salivating to that. I was like, Priam, 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 get your dick off the gods for a bit and pay attention to what your son is saying, please. I was like, bro, some of these extra scenes kind of does these characters a big disservice. It does recontextualize some of their later behaviors and actions and stuff, but damn, does it get on my nerves when I see Priam do that shit. Oh my goodness. And I know I'm going on a big tirade about the movie Troy, but that's just my passion.
Topic.
That's just my passion speaking.
That's okay.
Yeah, change it over. I mean, I could say a lot of things about medieval feudalistic Japan. I vaguely know anything about that, so I'm not going to pretend like I know everything that's Japanese.
I don't either.
I mean, learning that Nobunaga Oda is actually a pretty swell guy was also quite shocking, despite the fact that most Japanese media portray him as the big bad.
Even though that's not the case, which makes you wonder.
And the only time when he was actually a good guy was in that one Pokemon RTS or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm. It is rather. Once again, it makes you wonder, there are some people in Japan that continuously portrays Oda Nobunaga as the big bad, even though he's not.
Yeah.
I think it's because of the fact he's so legendary that they use him as a big bad.
Or maybe they just a bunch of haters.
Why does that sound familiar? Oh yeah. The section of historians, and I use that term loosely, they would do that to Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, you know what? That was one quite a pill to swallow. Despite the fact that in the middle of the years, especially in the 2000s, people were doing their damnness to just slander him hard.
Well, you can't really hate on a guy trying to do his best. And I do find it really stupid to try and hate on other people off and on because goodbye, Albert. I don't know. I just found it really. I just find that looking at the back and forth is pretty fun when you look at it as a juicy gossip magazine instead of trying to pick a side of good versus evil.
Right? That's for people accusing him of atrocities that were committed. Newsflash: he did not commit though. It was the Spaniards that came after Columbus, and his enemies want to pin all that onto him to besmirch him.
And they tend to gloss over the evil that was going on among the natives.
Yeah. What was going on in the Americas?
Because Native Americans had their own problems to deal with, and it's like, well, you can't exactly paint someone as a victim, especially when they ended up happening to be really awesome bounty hunters.
That, and also you actually have a tribe of American Indians who are cannibals. And Columbus documented how horrific that was.
Correct. History likes to hide that.
That one's new. I just remember the the cannibalism that was Cro-Magnon eating some Neanderthals, and the earliest bone carvings were carved into human bone.
Oh no, there was a cannibalistic American Indian tribe.
There is a lot of tribes scored out in the world that still practice cannibalism to this day. Hell, even modern tribes practice that, especially
Yeah.
some parts of Africa.
Yeah, why is it the more I learn about the world around me, the more it just sounds more like something out of a pulp fic?
Well, history tries to portray that when the white man came to America, they were cruel to the Native Americans, and maybe there's some truth to that. But also, the Native Americans were kind of animalistic to their own people, so
And
you
to
have to look
others.
at that as well, and
Can
to
you
others. They
really
weren't.
can
Others
we
who aren't like
really
them.
blame those instances of not knowing how to understand each other?
And the only
Really, can we really put the blame on it? Like you people act as if the past in the past we're supposed to have the universal translator, right?
no.
We're
If we
supposed to have
had
this
it,
universal translator and really understand each other. No,
if
we
we
did not have the universal translator baked into the past back in the days. All of which of what we learn now and have come to understand each other now and be less of violent towards each other now is due to us finally learning how to speak to one another.
if we
And
had
even
to
then, we're not the best at speaking towards one another, anyways. In the case of communication, hang on, humble. I'm on a roll here. I'm just like y'all acting as if we're supposed to. It really stuns me when there are times when people just act like we're supposed to know better at that moment, in that time period, in that time frame, in that timeline. We're supposed to know better. They're
Which
like
there's
they're like they're trying
other
to like
nice.
be our parents. Like, well, you should know better. You should have known better. Well, you should have known better that the Native Americans are are peaceful people, and they like to sit in their like mow in their canoes and be one with nature. Y'all should know. Did you know that? Yeah, well, well, you should have. You should have known, or you should have known that the Africans didn't want. Whoa. Slow your roll, Missy. Slow your roll. Ain't no white man ran his ass in the deep ass jungle of Africa with malaria infested mosquitoes and sweltering heat to catch no black man.
Mm-hmm.
He was given to them by another black man.
Yes.
Slow your roll, Missy. Ain't no white man running in that damn jungle to catch no black man.
No, no. In fact, well, if you actually look into cases like the one with the Barbary pirates, as well as like other African tribes, they're like they're the type of people like they captured and sold into slavery. There was the Slavs, and other Europeans. In other words, everybody practiced slavery, not just one demographic.
oh the creep I think
Right.
the creepiest part about that slavery thing is the one thing they had in common is something they didn't see before they saw as exotic. So, for example, your mousy, run of the mill. So, like, for example, your mousy, run of the mill redhead that probably looked like an average 5 in Europe. They'd think it was like a perfect 10 on the other side of the map and then stick it in a bird cage. And vice versa. Like, one of the saddest Yasuke stories I'd heard about was the reason why he was stuck in that samurai armor is because the Japanese had never seen a tall black dude before. So they decided to make fun of the poor guy.
Oh,
And in
please don't give them
Europe,
any ideas to call out racism in Japan, humble.
Oh, it's already been out there for a while.
I'm saying most people don't
And
know. Let's keep it
and
that way.
to be fair, Assassin's Creed Shadows also misinterpreted history by using AI to complete their game. Chinese architecture. Yeah, the stuff that you'd see in the Apothecary Diaries, they decided that looked like medieval Japan.
Yeah, well, in the subject of Yasuke. Anyway, the more information you learn about him, and the more people realize that he wasn't an official samurai. Yes, he was Oda Nobunaga's like retainer and bodyguard, and knew like how to fight on train with the sword, but he was not officially made a samurai.
I kind of like the thing where, yeah, they found some common ground and respect with each other. He served his time, and then he went home, which is
Well,
probably what happened most realistically.
yeah, and not to mention, and like there was a genuine friendship between him and Oda Nobunaga.
Yes. And if
Before we
they
continue
wanted,
on, what do y'all think about the song that I played earlier in the stream?
I was generally surprised because that is a nice shout out to DJ DNA of Urban Dance Squad, but and it still holds up after all these years because it is essentially it's anti SJ Hobo and what they believe in.
What do you think, Leia?
That was my first time hearing that song, but I felt it was a very interesting way to jolt us into the stream. You have to forgive me. I've never heard of that song before. If it's part of hip hop, probably because I don't listen to a lot of hip hop. But I thought it was a very interesting choice to get this stream going. No, it's was a very interesting way to get it going for this particular stream. It definitely gets your attention.
Humble.
It also helps like emphasize the point.
I noticed the afros. It's like,
That's
oh
the
my
only thing you
goodness.
noticed.
Well, the song was good.
Yes,
It was a bit of a bop.
I can imagine
You
Humble
don't see a
bobbing her
lot of
head.
blonde afros, or
You're not wrong.
afros, or people doing afros in general, because there's like this. Oh, this hairstyle belonged to my people. How dare you?
Well,
Which was kind of an internet drama
it
thing.
sure blew discourse out of the water, and this song came like 3 years before that song dropped, and
Oh,
y'all know what I'm talking about.
Norm Macdonald one?
You know that Star Wars brought.
Oh,
Oh, Amanda
That's ours.
Seyfried.
That's ours, girl.
No, that
No,
Amanda, the acolyte,
Amanda
Oh, her.
the power of many, did her little clap
Oh,
back at
yeah,
fans. So
her.
that was better than what she did.
I completely forgot about her, to be honest.
I did too.
I mean, she doesn't stand out like Amy Schumer does.
Oh God.
So Amy Schumer is like babysitting a giant kid. I am one to talk. I've been like that myself sometimes, but the one
Talk
time
about
she
your
was on a
vagina all day.
show, her cooking guests ended up having to fix most of her mess. Okay, back to the subject at hand. I already said enough stuff.
I was gonna ask wait, you talk about your vagina all day?
No, she didn't do that. She got an incredibly hot guy on. And then when they said, put the ingredients in the bowl, she unceremoniously dumped everything and spilled it everywhere.
Dark. Yeah, your thoughts on the opening song?
Is
I
he
think he's
asleep?
asleep.
I think he went to yeah. I think he couldn't keep his eyes open. I haven't said
It
anything.
sucked.
Way to keep us in suspense.
Yeah. Goodness. Give a
But
warning when you do that.
it was not my type of thing. They just kept on saying sleep. I'm like, okay.
Well, you understand. Like you understand, like that it's pretty much poking fun at them.
I guess, but you know, it's
It's
still not my type of thing.
yeah,
Understandable.
it's kind of like Constantine Kissin when he read the social contract for one of his comedy skits.
Well, I mean, alternatively, there was this other song like that actually only does what DJ DNA had done. It's from another band called Clawfinger called Truth.
Hmm.
I think you would bought that one because them and Urban Dance Squad they share in the same genre of funk metal as well as rap metal. But I can tell you this, they're not like Rage Against the Machine.
I think they're doing. Are they doing fucking karaoke out there?
Who is outside of your home?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I'm just hearing a few pauses between songs and singing. Like sounds like somebody doing fucking karaoke.
No karaoke like drunk karaoke.
Yeah, they do sound like they're drunk too. I'm not going out there to check either.
yeah, you are not.
Anyways, uh, that's another thing. That's another history that we don't really talk that much about because we vaguely know about it because we get bombarded with so much bullshit about it. African history,
It has a history?
right?
Right? Right, like these guys would want to tell people that white people or anyone or European descent really they don't have history or culture, and they act like the Africans are superior to everyone.
Yeah, this
Well,
is
probably
also
calling the kettle black.
is this also the same African culture dudes that tried to say everyone, oh, actually that's Afrofuturin, that said everyone was black at some point, even the European slave owners?
Even though it's been shown and proven that the out of Africa theory is bogus. It's been bogus for a while, and yet there are individuals out there that want to perpetuate on that lie.
I kind of find it funny because if the out of Africa theory is always true, then that would mean everyone at some point had an ancestral inward pass. They're not supposed to use.
They did. It was called Nubian.
That-
Just find it funny that they all think that all Africans are like the bestest ever, and yet they don't think to treat black people with such reverence as they would an African.
But they were great. It's just that they weren't the ones that they like to make you believe that were great. It was that portion of Africa that was mostly taken over by various other people as a trade route. Short Egypt.
I don't really get into that stuff much.
Hmm.
I did like some of their monster stories, though.
But great or not, it had a cultural impact in the ancient world as a great trade route and
True.
economy and everything.
True.
Also,
Whereas
Yeah,
everything else was pretty much like
Yeah.
it is today.
and also,
Unless
well,
it's South Africa, because, again, colonization. But hey,
I'm
that's
sorry, people, but no. The reason why South Africa and like other regions of that continent is the way it is, it's not because of colonialism. It's because of communism.
Hmm.
And African warlords.
Exactly. African warlords and communism are a dangerous combination.
That and any good African leader that's trying to fight against the warlords and dying in the
Did
process.
Did anyone
It's
else
like
have like a specific era they like talking about?
I was
Rwanda.
Sorry for interrupting.
no problem.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Wolf to finish.
Oh, we're making humble piss our pants.
No, I'm just kind of bumbling my way through everything here.
Well, take that, and you can take my tiredness. Fair trade.
I was
But
waiting
no,
for.
like, yeah, just a so Africa is a long bloody history. And
But you don't
all
know about that because the only one they really talk about somewhat is Shaka Zulu, who was kind of crazy and boinked his mother.
Mhm.
Yep, a real life example of the Oedipus complex.
Wait, they
Mhm.
didn't even talk about Mansa Musa, the Muslim who went on his religious journey and he had so much gold he literally tanked the Egyptian economy.
Nope.
Nope, but
I
you
never
hardly
heard
hear
about
anyone
him
talk
at all.
about that.
2010s.
Yeah, I got to hear about that by playing the Carmen San Diego computer game from the 90s.
Oh wow.
Nice. Actually, that's how I learned about that too.
I should have paid more close attention to Carmen San Diego than rather than just watching people just light light up
I just
siren
watched the
lights.
game show and the animated show. They didn't really allow you computer games in school for me.
Correct.
My family bought the entire thing to help a family member learn it, and I played it at night when no one was watching.
Nice.
Nice.
Humble, you sneak.
You sly dog.
Where
Well, to be fair,
is humble Marty? Humble Marty.
to be fair, 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning is the one time nobody uses a TV and no one uses a computer.
Yeah, you get this. Yeah, in my case, I snuck watching the Three Stooges at one point.
Yeah, it's also how I watched a lot of cool shit during the night on TV, like when they had anime on Sci-Fi Saturday animes that they
Mm-hmm.
Oh
played at 3 in the
yeah.
morning. Oh, the original Dragon, I mean not Dragon, Toonami runs with when
Hmm.
Maltar was doing that was always early morning. Yeah,
I was like, Wolf.
Oh, those were the days.
I would.
B-movie galore.
Hang on, Leia, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just going to say, Wolf. I was like you. I was able to watch where I live, the Three Stooges on Comedy Classics late night, and I was able to watch the Universal monster movies, the original Dracula, Wolfman, Mommy, around that on that time too. That was fun, and
Did
that's
you
how I
say
was introduced.
mommy?
Mummy, the
I heard
mummy,
mommy.
I said mummy. Oh, Wolf. I mean, got me messed up. I'm moving on because I know Dark is gonna take everything I say and twist it and turn it inside out and deconstruct it.
Well,
You
if you
guys
want
know
me to, I can.
no. You guys know the Universal Monsters. That's how I got introduced to them. Late night on Fridays, the creature features would come on, and that's how I was able to be introduced to the Universal Monsters.
Universal Monsters, and the ones that they had, but they don't like you to remember outside of the notable ones. Like, who remembers the daughter of Dracula?
I can't wait. Has that new attraction at Universal Studios open? I mean, you're looking at YouTube channels about them preparing it. Dark, what is it called? The Dark Universe. Is that open yet? Because I
You
really
mean Epic Universe?
Epic. Okay,
I
what
don't
is it called?
know yet.
It's a
It might
section of
be.
It's a section of Universal Studios or Epic Universe where it's dedicated to the Universal monsters. It looks pretty cool. I was just well, maybe they won't have it running until summer, so maybe that's it. I've
Yeah.
just been hearing a lot about it.
But well, what is hilarious though is Universal's like Epic Universe. Is pretty much essentially
May
what Disney.
22nd of this
Yeah,
year.
yeah. But what I find hilarious about the Epic Universe, from what is being shown so far through the previews,
Yeah.
it's how it's beating Disneyland and Disney World.
Oh yeah, it looks great. Is it from what I've seen in the previews? It's like a village or something, and there's a theme, and you go to Frankenstein's laboratory, and then there's this mansion, and it just looks really cool. I agree with you. I said, as soon as I find out that it's open, I want to get my tickets early, so I can have everything together and go there and check it out. So I hope it is this summer. But you're right; it looks way cooler than what Disney World is doing.
Well, and Disneyland in terms of quality, because each of the lands are not only distinct, but it actually feels like a lived inside of Universal's like many movies and in its fictional setting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
and I like that.
to get back more on track, as Humble is trying to do, what's the other people's favorite time zones?
Well,
Eras of history.
well, for me, my era would have to be what I have many, but one of my favorites
Really?
is
That's a lot of eras.
okay. You know what, Dark? You asked the question. You don't hit humble like that. You just skip over humble, but the minute I say something, it turns into some sort of innuendo. I'm almost afraid to say it.
Humble's answer.
No,
And I'm not.
no, just be glad. Just be glad you're not listening to Mike Patton and his band, Mr. Bungle, because they make a lot of innuendos and euphemisms in their music.
Oh, I believe you. I believe you. Anyway, the period of history that is one of my favorite. Don't. I can't wait for this. The part of history that is one of my favorites is the Renaissance, because that
Now,
is
which one? What?
Europe.
Because there's the early, the high Renaissance, and the late.
Or just altogether 16th, 17th century.
Yeah, that period of 1670. Well, it starts for me. It starts with England when Elizabeth I was reigning, and we started to come out of the Dark Ages, and we were discovering the arts. So, like Dark said, it would cover that whole timeline, 1600s, 1700s, when we were getting we were discovering the arts. So we're getting arts, we were getting literature, and we were getting, of course, Shakespeare's time. We were getting plays. All that, all that time rolled into one is one of my favorite times in history. And the Italian Renaissance is also one of my favorites, because I do enjoy looking at artwork, and I love many of the artists that became popular during that time. But most of the
Oh yeah.
paintings and the arts were surrounded by the beginning of the Renaissance. We were coming out of the Dark Ages, and science as well, with Da Vinci and all of his machinations and all of his discoveries and all of his
One of the first Renaissance men.
yes, perfect word to use for him. Perfect Renaissance man. And we had Shakespeare, and we had many painters. So that's been one of my favorite times in history, is when we were that time when we were coming out of the Dark Ages, and we were discovering the arts and science, and we were coming out of superstition, and more being led by science and scientifics that Da Vinci kind of helped in many ways with many of his creations, from science to art. So he definitely was a Renaissance guy. You could definitely say that.
Yeah, which of course like led to the development of the Enlightenment. Yet, even like with the Enlightenment flourishing, you still like it does not equate to like the abolishment like of religion and spirituality.
Oh, correct. Yeah, that you're right. That was still very there, because some of that religion came in the artwork that we got. We got many,
Yeah.
many artworks and paintings based on the Gospels, based on Christ's time on Earth. We got many, many, but I don't want to get the time right because I could be getting the timeline wrong. When did we get the Sixtine Chapel? Do everybody know the exact time that the Sixtine Chapel was designed?
No idea.
Just,
Okay, I have to
It's
look that up
it's
again.
far
But
beyond me.
right, but we got it's okay. But even along with mythology, like Wolf brought out earlier, to follow up to what he was saying about Greek mythology, we had lots of artwork based on Greek mythology. The the Eternal Birth of Venus by Botticelli
1512.
was the Sistine Chapel
The
or
Sistine
Botticelli.
Chapel.
Oh, you were saying about the Birth of Venus because we got a lot of
no,
paintings.
well, I mean,
Oh,
well, the Sistine Chapel itself, it was built between 1473 and 1481.
okay, I get the
She
timelines mixed up. But
said painting. The Sistine apparently has loads of them.
Mm,
Oh, a lot.
yes, a lot of references.
The ceiling specifically, the one that mostly gets focused on
Yes,
by
the ceiling.
Michelangelo,
Yes, the ceiling.
And
created
I,
between 1508 to 1512.
and
Because I think
I myself, I, I was able to actually to see them, see the Sistine Chapel and the other paintings, and it's amazing, like how people was a how all these staffers like dedicate themselves to preserving these paintings because they're that timeless.
you actually went to the chapel to see the ceiling.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow,
it was during a family vacation.
still cool. Wow, that had to
hmm.
be something to see it up close like that. That had to be really be something to see.
No, it is definitely. I'll say it's better than like seeing like the virtual tours like of the Sistine Chapel. No, it, it's a different story of actually seeing it live in person.
I bet. But also along with religion, as following along with what Wolf brought up with mythology, we had a lot of paintings based on mythology. The
Hmm.
ever eternal Birth of Venus, which I thought Dark was going to make some comment on, because I thought the Birth of Venus would be right up his alley. But we had Birth of Venus, Primavera,
Not
going
really. I
off the
mean, you
top.
got to remember how she came to be. I mean, his
Well, she was
Aries,
born.
what,
Go ahead. I would love to hear your take on.
Arrow or Aries. What was that guy's name again? The sky god. Anyways, one of his kids like castrated him, and the junk fell in the sea, and the foam created a Venus.
Thank you for putting that so eloquently, stranger. She
Oh,
rose from the sea, and the wind gods breathed that bread,
breathed life.
breathed life into her, and she was able to glide. From I forgot the island where she settled on after she came from the sea, according to the story. But the painting is timeless. It's a timeless painting that we see not only in museums, but it's part of pop culture. I've seen it on totes, I've seen it on bags, I've seen it on shirts, I've seen it on t-shirts. It is a work of art that has become a part of our culture. And I'm really passionate about this because in college, I did a thesis on the birth of Venus and other artists who were inspired by that same painting, but did their different takes on it. But right now, I can't remember the name of those different artists, but they were inspired by that. What Botticelli's Birth of Venus is what other Primavera. He did a
Yeah.
lot of paintings based on mythological stories. His own
Hmm.
take on them. That one's supposed to be. And there's another one. I think it was. Is it Venus and Mars, or Venus and Apollo? Venus and Mars. I think it's Venus and Mars. There's another painting he did of Venus and I don't know if it's Venus and Mars or Venus and Apollo. It's the same image or the same model, and basically, I don't want to say this. I'm gonna spark I'm gonna spark Dark's attention. But it's a
No,
beautiful.
Venus and
They're
Mars.
lounging. They're lounging, and it's implied that they just had a wonderful night of passion, and they are now
Sex.
lounging. It
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk
Oh my
about you
God.
It is
and me.
Oh
Let's
no,
talk
my
about
but
God.
it
making
is called
love.
painting is called Venus and Mars. Mars is done by Sandro Botticelli.
Yes. And it's implied that they had a wonderful night of passion, but Mars just decides he wants to take a little nap. Venus is awake looking annoyed, he's taking a little nap while little imps play around them. If anyone's not seen the painting, that is what is implied by the painting. And so that's just one of my favorite times in history because we got so many works of art, whether it be literature, whether it be art that inspire us down today. I don't have to go into Shakespeare. We all know what came out of that. So we all know what those stories did around at that time. And he had the Globe Theater and he had actors come to perform his plays. And of course, the golden reign of Elizabeth I was at this time too. So,
Golden Rain. Oh no.
oh my goodness gracious, the golden age of the reign of Elizabeth I. Let me reword it because Dark's mind is someplace else.
I just got
And
reminded of that rapper for some reason.
Rain
In that
my
Boondocks episode.
bell, you rain my bell.
I,
Well,
I,
speaking of Shakespeare, for years, like the schools like taught kids about Shakespeare, like his known, his obscure, underrated works, but also like how him and other writers like contributed to the development of literature in the West. And that does remind me of a class like I was taking previously as we go and going over like different English courses, and how over time, then like these schools, especially in college, they start to lower with Shakespeare's significance up to almost not teaching classes centered on him and his works.
Huh.
yeah. Well, maybe they should. Maybe they should go back to that. I'm trying to see if I left out anything, uh, any other period. No, stop. Be quiet, Dark. Any other time in history? history.
I'm like he's trying to help you out.
No.
What were your, what were your thoughts
Go ahead, Dom.
on the what are your thoughts on the Frontiers era,
It's
aka the Old West?
you know, Dom. I'm going to be honest. It's not my favorite. Oh, I have to be honest, but I'll let go ahead. Since Wolf likes it, I'm gonna let him take that one. But I don't have really I know it's there, but it's not been my favorite period. The
The
Old
Old West
West.
is quite interesting because the fact of the matter is that a lot of people like to portray it as like cowboys bad, Indians good, which is fucking hilarious in itself.
And
That I
bullcrap.
do with it.
Because when you really look down to it with the Old West is it was the law was the law, especially if you were living in a town. But when you were living in a homestead out in the plains and the valley, it is fair game out there. Now you
I
could get,
oh sorry.
somebody had a cartoon moment.
It's my kitten. She made a mess.
There,
Oh,
She
there it
literally
is.
spilled her food and water.
oh, poor kitty.
But yeah, the West was fair game if you were not in a town per se, like any small town or even a big town that would later grow into a city, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were out there by yourself as a homesteader, of course you are, of course, well within your rights to defend your home.
Hmm.
But my goodness, you're going to have to really come off strong if you're going to defend that. And I'm sorry, people, but it is true. Native Americans would attack homesteaders if they showed truth.
Hmm.
They were the bullies. Some of them, not all of them. They were the bullies of the Wild West. If you weren't too careful, if you if you did not have bandits to worry about, you would have them to worry about. They were like the next best thing. That and of course wild animals
Hmm.
stepping in and messing with your crops or killing your livestock, hunting your livestock. And I'm talking
Hunting
about
livestock,
mhm.
as well as as well after like they raid like the homesteaders, they would take them in as slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very true.
I'm just saying
Oh,
the idea of a dog eat dog world of that time just excites me sometimes. Just thinking about the living in a time like that. Just like I said, if you're not in a city where you could get murdered by somebody in those big or in and around those big buildings, and that murderer could easily just leave town, and yeah, people will find out that it was that guy who left town, but by that point, he could be anywhere out there in the fields in the plains.
on
It'd be
the
hard. The only way you'll have to find is if you have a bounty hunter that knew how to track people.
Hmm. No.
it was also one of the times when they had a lot of when they had actually a lot of they had actually had a lot of agricultural innovation too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the Dark Ages. Dark Ages was brought up, and and when people look into it, it is not what like media, even old media, like portrayed it as.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
There was still like innovation in agriculture, technology, and science, as well as
So I mean,
in spirituality.
that's what I mean. I really hate how they treat it as if people were really that dumb in them days.
Not
Even
not to mention
but
Yeah.
if it's not,
not to mention like there was a stagnation like in science.
but my thing is they not only did they treat the nobles as dumb, and excuse me, most cases they were, but to look at the peasants and think that they were dumb, now that's just cruel.
Hmm. Not to mention, not all like noble families were not only disconnected like to the general public. Not all of them were evil bastards.
They weren't happy, rapey, child touching illiterates either. Not all of them. It's usually the ones that are dumb that really do the most heinous stuff. Don't you think?
Hmm.
the
Oh
really
yeah.
the
Or the
really
ones.
dumb ones got themselves either locked in the stockades or pretty much got their butts handed to them by someone a lot bigger and a lot stronger.
And it's like I agree with what you said. I'm getting tired of these movies where white male cowboys are evil and Indians are pure as the driven snow and kind and innocent and poor weak little them, and we just came in and ruined everything. I'm really getting tired of films doing that. They still want to do that to this day, and that's just not true.
Well, they're getting a little bit better at it though.
Yeah, I'll
Just,
say
just
that.
a little bit, but
Hmm.
not much. They're strongly trying to push the noble savage narrative even harder now because now
Mm.
Native Americans are in fashion for them to portray them as these weak and but yet sophisticated nature lovers. Jesus Christ.
And there are actually few American Indians that are perpetuating it.
Yep.
Some of
And
the
Jesus Christ, Avatar ruined a generation of people.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
some of the Indians practiced bear baiting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the one part, and I will say I like this. It was from one of the books I'd read that was from like 1800s. You could find on Internet Archive. A gun seller would come into their village, and they liked seeing the gun go off.
Hmm.
And that was his advertisement, was having the gun go off. Though the other part that is actually really cool that you'd find in the 1800s is there was a lot of art that came out of it, and at least and especially afterwards
I
portraying
agree.
a lot of the history, some of the a lot of the history, most of the bar fights, Lincoln's assassination happened during that time.
Yes.
And the parts that I really enjoyed was reading it out of this bunch of old books that were called the Cowboy Encyclopedia. And it was it's a lot more interesting than the noble savage white as snow. You're looking more like Conan the Barbarian with guns. Because you've got your high stakes, you got your action, you got some of your thrillers, plenty of drama, and something else that I could probably not say on YouTube. Probably.
No, say it. We're not
Murder.
monetized.
Murder.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot of murder, but the part that made it the most fun was it was also around just a little bit after the 1700s. So if you didn't have access to the latest medicine, which, let's face it, medicine went at a snail's pace, you could have gotten something from books like the First Merkel Manual of Diagnosis and Therapy. And I'm reading this article from Jane Kinney from August 17, 2018. Leeches for earaches. Cocaine for alcoholism.
Okay, that's interesting.
Laxatives for chicken pox.
Oh my God.
Arsenic for anemia. Chloroform for hiccups.
Oh God.
And chloroform's that nice little chemical that's in the brown glass bottle that you put onto the cloth to make it go night-night. Inhaling smoke for asthma. Cold douches for insomnia. Belladonna for colic. And belladonna is the main ingredient for today's eye drops. Strychnine for constipation. Bloodletting for nausea, though, to be fair, they use bloodletting for about everything. Oh, and they did have tampons back then, but they were laced with painkillers to help with the cramps. So they had a lot of good ideas going, a lot of party drugs, but even among the blackjack and hookers, there was a lot of questionable medical practices. So where the Native Americans came in was they had a whole bunch of medical knowledge from their own time periods, and they had to correct a bunch of this stuff, and they'd trade with them every once in a while. Like they had one sign language interpreter and a guy that would do trading with the Indians. And then they'd send like buffalo skins overseas. Well, then you got the complaint letters from Europe. This is like close you get to Yelp reviews that said the buffalo skins went bad. Well, if you don't treat the leather, it rots.
Mm-hmm.
But if you knew how to treat it and work with it, it would serve you forever. That is also one of the reasons why buffalo went kind of extinct.
Kind of, but not completely.
Not completely. They ended up being
almost endangered.
Almost endangered. And you also end up finding a bunch of stuff that got, for example, at that time, you also got a lot of the stuff from the Renaissance era preserved too, because for them, their version of the 1600s were basically our version of probably 1970s, 1990s. Like, for example, this is what would have had in the, and I'm looking this up under It Itches by the book Franklin Habit. He had a interesting version of Old English. Her Majesty received ye nether panties with great delight, and retired at once her chamber for to tray them on. So happily did they lay upon the royal bum that she did say never would she wear any lady panties of other make, and she did command 7 pair of ye same in divers colours, with ye days of ye week embroidered thereupon.
Well, it
Well,
is. The more you
that
know.
was yes, that is
Th-
something
and,
I never knew.
and this isn't really I don't think this is really a true story, but it's a fun thing. And it was called The Underpants Knitters of the Great Fussing on the World. What is true is, yes, people made their own underpants. It was even like a 4-H project at one point. Um, styles may vary, but the patterns got passed down a lot from one family member to the next.
Well, that was something new. I never heard. That's some
Shall
information.
we end it? Shall we end the stream off that now?
Hey man, it's not over yet.
I got work in the morning, fool.
You wanted to do the stream on a Saturday. Well, I didn't know you had to work.
My all day is over tonight.
Well, if I had to add any other time period, and maybe we may have to do a part 2 of this, but I would
Definitely.
have to say, yeah, and I'll go into it more in a part 2, because mostly we were like the
Oh, we could
60s,
we could
70s.
do that next Tuesday. I mean, not next Tuesday, next Thursday.
I will go into my period of the 80s, the late 70s, and the 80s, because I think that is the time when we really got our pop culture boom.
Yeah, especially after the release of Star Wars, which helped helped to remove the dark cloud that is cynicism and its sister nihilism.
Now, do you
Correct.
want to add anything?
Hmm.
Oh, you're quiet now. I didn't say anything to give him an innuendo.
uh, the only time period I would say that I really like is it goes by many names, and some parts of it are just simplified to the 20s, the Roaring 20s. But the Roaring Twenties does stand out because it really influenced a lot of things, music, styles, but also pulp era. Uh,
Ooh, yep,
Love that part.
yeah, yeah. The 20s is definitely remains one of my favorite historical periods. And besides the medieval as well as the frontier era.
mm, we're still doing a new industrial age during that time, and we had a healthy economy. So we were exploring like new avenues, and plus some negatives like prohibition, but that also gave to a lot of crime, which also fueled into the pulp stories and what made them so appealing. So kind of a give and take. But yeah, pretty much that time period is what I really like. It gave us a lot from that. You know, without the pulps, you wouldn't have your altruistic superheroes or anything like that, or, which led to the big comic boom. So a lot of your comics and what they influenced, like manga and so on, wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Movie industry was taking a bigger boom. Radio drama, you know, the lone, yeah, radio drama. You had like
The Lone Ranger, the Lone
uh,
Ranger, the Shadow.
Yeah.
yeah, but I was thinking Buck Rogers. He was
Ooh,
mostly
yeah, you're
from
right, Buck
like
Oh,
the
Rogers.
yeah.
20s. Sports was booming because that's when Babe Ruth was becoming big and making baseball the thing. You know, just a lot of things came out of that era, and you know, and a lot of things that we take for granted kind of really just happened because of that.
Yeah, you, you're definitely not wrong, my friend.
You're on the money. Yes,
Hmm.
I have to agree. You are on the money. Yeah, and especially with film and cinema as well during the 1920s and how that
Yep.
reflected the culture.
I mean, much like the advancements in the science and technology, like gave writers or like inspiration like for the pulps. Well, there's also like interest in there's like in the natural like which ties through the occults, which helped influence fantasy.
Yeah, and that was also the time when you had like H.P. Lovecraft, Rob
Ash,
Howard, and a lot of them.
Clark Ashton,
Yeah,
and Derla.
Burroughs. Uh, yeah, just a lot of the things just boomed from that time point.
Hmm.
You're absolutely correct in every ways, every aspect, from the economy to sports to film, yes, to fashion, yeah, all of that
Fiction.
was the boom. Yes, and even to fiction, yeah, the 20s was big boom. Was
Yeah.
that? Would you say that was the rise of the gangster, or
Yeah, pretty much
Yeah,
rise of?
Prohibition was the big rise of the gangster.
Yes,
and the detectives.
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we can go on, but we'll save that for part two next Thursday of the Real Millennials.
Yeah. I
And
also go ahead, humble.
oh, nothing. I was just thinking next time we do a part two of this, I had to be taking better notes. I was doing a lot of this off the top of my head, so I probably might have gotten quite a bit wrong. So there is that.
I'm also going to bring up. I said the 70s, 80s. I'm also going to bring up the 60s and the Cold War because that gave rise to 007. Because I'm hearing a lot of people say they whatever the next Bond will be, they want him to go back to the 60s. But does he really go back to the 60s? We can't have him in the modern era. But we'll
Mm,
save that for very interesting how everybody wants him back during the Cold War era, where they thought there was the Ian Fleming's uh, books, and then eventually came to the big screen.
To be honest,
Well,
people just say that because they think, oh, we go back to that point in time when he could be Bond, surrounded by what made Bond great, like in that specific time, like the Connery films and stuff. But they kind of forget the people who are running the things don't give a shit about history or actual history or whatever. I mean, look at the new Odyssey film or anything like that. The type
Yeah.
of faces they want you to see in that, and you see that a lot lately. The God of War games
yeah,
and so on.
yeah.
They don't care about history or accuracy.
Mm-mm.
nah.
Now, and then on the other side, you have Nosferatu by Robert Eggers. Yet, what? Yeah, even though it is a good movie, it's
Eh,
heavily downplayed on the religion because I mean like that's how you can like harm a vampire because holy symbols is one of their weaknesses.
I'll have to watch the
Mm.
original to see if he almost did a 1-to-1 remake.
no, it's different. Especially if you well, there's various adaptations, but there's the original. I think there's like fuck. I know there's the Klaus Kinski one in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there was like
And
maybe three or four others, and then you had like Shadow the Vampire, which is kind of like a meta take on, kind of
Mm.
fun. And then you got this one.
Like I said, it's not his. It's his weakest film out of all of his films.
Hmm.
Hopefully, he'll pick it back up with the upcoming werewolf film that he's trying to make.
I'm
Just
looking
less
forward to that as well.
penis.
And
Really?
Harry Pussy.
If you're gonna cover the 60s, I'll be covering the 50s because it's one of my favorite historical periods.
I just only remember the 90s and the late 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you're still young, but I'm sure you remember that period as well.
Hmm.
Be interested to hear what you have to say, Dom, on the 50s. 50s is not my favorite period, but I'm interested to see what comes out of that.
We
Well,
choose to go to the moon. Not
Yeah.
because it is easy, but because it is hard. Also, ignore that I'm a communist. Anyways.
Oh, God. I don't like
Okay.
that. I don't like what that they have. I forget. They Matt Damon is Odysseus. Is he Odysseus
Yeah.
in? I don't like his
Matt
casting.
Damon.
Hmm.
I don't- I would not cast him as Odysseus.
At
I
least
don't.
it's better than Tom Hiddleston, because when they said that, I'm like, no,
uh,
no, 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 no.
Wrong, wrong,
and
wrong, wrong.
and
You are
of course, there's
wrong.
Ellen, and there's of course like Ellen Page, who's like playing like one of the gods, who was a dude.
Oh God.
Dude,
Oh, this cast.
Was she
Oh,
playing a little boy?
Oh,
yes.
no.
She could
Bill.
just play the Cyclops. I mean, that's a monster. Shit.
Ha ha.
No, it's ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha.
No,
You don't laugh like Jeff Goldblum.
I
You better
have
do it right,
no idea
man.
what's going on.
Well,
He's trying to laugh
recently,
like Jeff
Head pat.
Goldblum, and he failed.
recently, like he was cast as Zeus for that urban fantasy series Chaos.
Oh God, him as Zeus. It should have been David Duchovny.
Right?
Well, yeah. Can we really take Zeus when he speaks like this?
No.
No. No. You said Zeus. You need a stronger actor with a powerful voice that commands the
A
room.
powerful voice that goes ha ha ah. But by the way, Hercules, you gotta do 12 labors, and one
And
of them
that's
is
not
to 10,
him.
is to tend to tend some dirty horses and some cows, and then later on you have to seek a golden apple, and you have to carry the sky for one of your brethren, and you have to slay. Oh, this is the fun part. This is really the fun part. You got to slay the Hydra. Slay it. By the way, it grows multiple heads the more times you slay it. But I'm pretty sure you will figure a way how to deal with that. And then you have to fight a lion, not just any lion, the Nemean lion, which is a big lion that has an impenetrable mane and impenetrable fur, and it's got massive claws and big teeth. And you're a strong man. You can take care of the Nemean lion, and then you have the boar. You have this big boar that you have to deal with, and people are asking who's going to deal with the board. They prayed to me. They literally prayed to me and asked me who's going to take care of this guy. And I said, my son, that'll be you, Hercules, and there it is.
And as Plankton from SpongeBob would say, "All right, I get
You don't understand. I do not like assault women. My seed, like life, finds a way into these women.
Oh God.
One day we gotta do impressions. We gotta do some impressions one day on stream.
But let's give Goldblum some credit. I mean, people say he's pretty much old style Ben Shapiro, but he's just what Ben Shapiro wishes he was.
I mean, he is to me like Nicolas Cage at this point. He just likes being in movies.
Yeah. Or
Now he needs to
as others would
now.
say him and Cage or troubadours.
Well, my thing is, in one time, I would love for him to at least pick and choose the movies he wants to be in, and not goof up any movie they say put him in.
Yeah,
You
maybe get
know,
him actually in that phase when he really committed, like the Fly, or that other horror movie he was in, where he kind of was just being serious.
shit. Now that we're on him, he would have been my cast for Reed Richards. Actually,
That would have been. I can see that.
that'd
Yeah.
be 1-to-1 casting right there.
A
Yeah.
bit nosy,
could-
but sure.
Wait, what?
A bit nosy, but sure.
doesn't
He's
really
got a
have a
big
big
nose.
nose.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he could stutter his way through the whole thing, and a lot of people will say like, well, that's Reed Richards right there.
Yes, it is.
Of course,
So
him and Downey as Doom would kind of be a funny pair off.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Hmm.
maybe out stuttering each other.
Just
Or
him, just him as Zeus? No, that's not. That doesn't work, Chief.
No, that was
Russell
miscasting.
Crowe.
But yeah,
Oh, go on,
Fat
Wolf.
Crow lately.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I could see Russell Crowe, but in Thor: Love and Thunder, he had the script was
No.
bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
The writing was bad. It wasn't taking him very seriously. That was the thing I hated. He was not taken seriously. Had he been taken seriously, he might have been a good Zeus.
but you don't see it's the themes. The theme of they're not taking the gods seriously because Gorn is killing them all. So they're he's trying to get people to not worship the gods too much and be over like shut the fuck up. That is
He
not what
sucks
type
at killing gods.
Yeah. Well, even though I'm not a huge fan of Jason and Aaron's like run on Thor, but at least Gore the God Butcher, he was actually established as a dangerous threat to gods as well as those associated with them.
they don't even call him the God Butcher in this movie. It seems it's more of the it's more of the sword that he's wielding.
The Necro Sword,
It
which
would have
they,
just
they,
been better
they
if they
didn't even
called
do
him
that right.
Batman.
They don't even flatten his nose. They don't even remove his nose to give him a no nose look. They did it with the
No,
mob. Why they couldn't do it with him?
yeah, well, they made Gore too human instead of alien.
Exactly. But even then, I still wouldn't have watched it.
No, me too. Like again, even though I don't like Jason Aaron's run Thor or really him as a writer, like I like had to say, dude, you couldn't even get Gore the God Butcher right.
Yeah, when they took Sif and have her be maimed the way she was, and how Thor was just joking through the fact that she was maimed, I was like, no, no,
No,
no.
no,
This is
no,
this is
no.
this is
kind of
the
out of
second
character for him.
time. This is the second time you fucking disrespected Thor's family, his Asgardian family. The first time what was in Ragnarok, what he did with the Warriors 3, and now he did with Sif.
Yeah.
And
I
the
was like,
Valkyries.
Mm-hmm.
yes, and the Valkyries.
No, like no, the Valkyries no, they were and Brunhilde like they were done dirty by Ragnarok.
Oh my god, I hate when he takes things so dark and then just fucking just takes a levity piss all over him.
I'm sorry, but I think the cartoon that was based on the Avengers MCU treated him a lot better than the movies did.
We'll not
I agree
watch.
with
I'm
you.
still not watching that one because I don't like
Avengers
that.
Assemble for all its blunder, it actually did that
Earth's
continuing
Mightiest
where
Heroes is
Earth Might
better.
Hero. What? No, no, I'm saying that. No, I'm saying yeah. It's like, if Earth Might Hero like it's 10 times better. Handling Thor and the Norse gods and goddesses more so
I
than Avengers Assemble.
I would agree. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
All right, ladies, it's time to pack it in. So, like, thank everybody
Hmm.
for being here. Those four of you, and then those just the motherfuckers that keep popping in and out. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to us babbling on about history and tackling some tough subjects that most people don't want to talk about, or those that do but are afraid to get canceled over for it. Well, I'm not that type of person. Neither is my crew here. or anybody who we surround ourselves with. We say what we want, won't say when we want and how we want, and we want it that way. Tell me why?
Oh
Why
my
always
God.
y'all hide from history? Tell me why? Tell me why? I don't ever want to hear you say history is a terrible subject. Anyways, thank you everybody for coming by and stick around for the day after tomorrow. For we will be oh actually no 2 days from now. Excuse me, 2 days from now we'll be tackling the Dolph Lundgren '89 Punisher film.
I'm most certainly looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's quite a surprise that when I watched it, I was like, "Oh wow, this is something we desperately needed during the '80s era of Marvel movies or Marvel media, for that matter." It made me. I'll say this again when we cross that bridge again, but I'm saying it right now tonight. Jesus, man, could they have at least taken comic book movies seriously at that time? Would it have killed them? Would it have killed them? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we could have
I
gotten the
agree.
Daredevil movie way earlier than the Ben Affleck one, including the Netflix one, the Charlie Cox one. It should never have taken us this long to have at least enough Marvel media to sink our teeth into. And mind you, there's a sizable number. Believe it or not, there's a sizable number of Marvel content before we even got the MCU. Long
Yeah,
before
Hmm.
there's
the
also
MCU.
there are also like stories like of attempt to and adaptations of like different like Marvel characters back then, like even the obscure ones, be it films and television, and yet
Hmm.
they weren't able to see the light of day.
Shoot, the Fantastic Four movie by Roger Corman, we were denied that. Good luck finding copies. But no, like I'm just saying, like after watching that movie, my head, the gears in my head was just spinning, and they just kept spinning and spinning and spinning, and it just kept spinning and spinning and spinning, and just thinking and just being very disappointed with mindsets at that time. The mindsets that people thought about at that time when looking at stuff like that, and it wouldn't have been until Superman, the Richard Donner Superman, to at least like it didn't really entirely change people's minds per se, but it did turn a few heads, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yes.
To come around to the idea, to come into the idea of it per se. So yeah, just man, we were denied potential stuff, good or
A
bad,
lot.
no matter what the quality was. Like they should have kept taking the die, but hey, I understand they were voting with the bank. I understand that they were voting with the bank.
Well, I still think Hollywood does not understand the comic book world. That's probably why you don't get one they take seriously. Well, because they don't take them seriously. They don't see it serious enough. They don't
And
believe
now
in the
we're back
idea
to
of a
that.
hero.
Even though we have the
Yeah.
tools to make them look good,
Hmm.
now
Right.
now 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 we've come back to that, and so now we're so now this Tuesday we're going to be tackling when they actually tried. Even back then, even way back when they actually tried, you know.
Hmm.
Then of course we're gonna keep going with the real millennials history talk, and I
Well,
do
the
believe
Thursday after, well, the Thursday after that we'll be talking about heroes and villains.
yeah, but I do believe I'm setting us up for an anime spotlight pretty soon after April.
Well, keep
But
us informed.
I also have an animation spotlight in mind as well. But I don't know if we have enough time to tackle to power through most of the content to really have a firm talking point about it yet. I ain't gonna tell you what it is, but it's definitely creative. It's definitely centered around the creative.
He
Anyways,
wants you to watch Angel Blade.
no.
He'll surprise us.
Anyways, the Hound of the South, Dominic Powell.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us in tonight's episode of the Real Millennials. And make sure you stay tuned for not just part two of this conversation, but let's also join us as we do a retrospective on 1989 Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. This is the Hound of the South, Dominic Powell signing off. And remember, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You got to keep your head up because cynicism is for losers.
The humblest of writers, Humble Marty.
Hello, and thank you for being patient as I blundered my way through history.
We all did, Humble. It's not about you.
I know.
Hey, as Alejandro once said in The Mask of Zorro, or in this case us, you'll be better than ever.
Well, it just helps to apologize ahead of time, since this will be up there for all to see. And thank you for coming.
She's so thoughtful.
Coming.
The Sixth Stranger.
Humble.
Well, what did you expect? 45-degree angle?
Can I make this motherfucker sign out now?
Down the center is good enough.
Sorry.
All right, lovebirds. The Sixth Stranger, the Dark Stranger.
But thank you for having me again.
Now he's quiet.
Now we have the lovely Leia Val. Leia Plus Size, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. This is Leia Plus Size, your lovely Lady of Valor, and thank you for joining us through this trip through history with us about our favorite parts in history. If you have a favorite era that we did not discuss, please leave it in the comments below. We really would like to hear from you. I'm sure Wolf will really appreciate it. Until then, everybody enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we'll see you soon.
This is your Welcome Commander Wolf 10. Remind you guys that you are the UN Spacey. Welcome to the
Big smiles, everyone. You beat the bad guy.
What a lot of fun. You guys have been real swell. And there's not a one who can say this ended well. All those secrets you've been concealing, say you're happy now, once more with feeling. Now I gotta run, see you home.